Here are 3 position groups on the Buffalo Bills that we should at least marginally be concerned about. Yo ho ho, Bills Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. As always, your host, Dan Mitchell. Say that you're new here, I'm an avid member of the Bills Mafia, and I regularly put out videos about the Buffalo Bills and the NFL. If that is your cup of tea, I highly recommend subscribing to this channel, and as always, smashing the ever-living out of that like button. So OTAs starts on Monday through Tuesday, where we first get our full taste of the new Buffalo Bills with all of the recent new free agent acquisitions and the rookies that we ended up drafting, signing after the fact. And a lot of these questions are going to be answered. However, there's still a couple of position groups on this team where I could see it coming back to slightly bite us in the ass. Now, don't get this twisted. I still see the Buffalo Bills winning the division. I still see us being completely fine. I still see us being top 3 in the entire conference at this point and still very much Super Bowl contenders. However, these 3 position groups are probably going to give me massive anxiety as I watch the season coming up. The first group is going to be none other than the running backs. For the past couple of years, Josh Allen has been our running game. Whether or not that this was up to Dorsey or whether or not that our personnel just wasn't living up to the hype between Devin Singletary and James Cook, our running back room has never really been much of anything since LaShawn McCoy left. So this year, as I look at the overall depth chart, yes, we have a couple of promising names. We have Damien Harris, we have Latavius Murray, then James Cook, who really didn't get a lot of opportunity last year for me to even be able to give you any sort of valuable feedback. Sure, 5.7 yards per carry is great, but what is it going to look like when he actually has more of a responsibility on this offense? And then Nyheim Hines. Now, don't get me wrong, I have to give Brandon Beane credit because he did go out there and he did make some moves during the offseason. I'm very excited about Damien Harris. I think that this guy could be a bell cow back for the Buffalo Bills. He's the mixture of a 3-down back and a power back, which is something that the Bills have been lacking heavily throughout the past couple of years. However, I regularly talk to my buddy Colby, who runs a YouTube channel called Patriots Global, that consistently tells me I am going to be disappointed in this running back because he refuses to stay healthy. So can Damien Harris actually give us a full 17 games? History suggests there's no way, but say for example that we can get some sort of miracle, then I'm very excited to see what he can do for this Buffalo Bills offense. Same thing with Latavius Murray. Yes, the guy is a little bit older, especially for a running back. However, the guy is still wildly productive. He's still getting 4.3 yards per carry, and that could truly be our 3rd down back or goal line back to muscle his way through a defensive line and secure 6. So hopes are very high for those two. But then when it comes to James Cook, I'm just going to need to see a little bit more, see what he does with some more touches. I think he's a little undersized. I do wish that he did have a bit more meat on him, so let's hope that he's hitting the weight room relatively hard. And Nyheim Hines. We literally trade for that guy. We pay him a pretty considerable amount of money, and we don't use him for his largest strength, which is his ability to be a pass-catching running back. So I really hope that not only Damien Harris and Latavius Murray can add that power scheme right to our offense, but I'm also hoping that Ken Dorsey utilizes James Cook and Nyheim Hines for their strengths, which is catching the football. Oh no, Dan, not another ad read. Trust me, you are going to thank me for this. Now, as many of you know, I work extremely long hours, 7 a.m. until I about pass out at 11 or midnight Monday through Friday. And you would think that I would be able to go to sleep and rejuvenate. You're absolutely wrong. My mind is still going a million miles a second, and for the most part, I'm staring at my ceiling until 3 a.m. Now, that is something that I have accepted for myself, but I needed to make a change. I needed to start taking naps, but once again, I can't nap either. Whether or not that it's my FOMO, or whether or not that I just can't get comfortable enough, or it's too bright, I have had no such luck until I ended up finding the Manza sleep mask. Now, little do you know, Manza truly believes sleep needs to be the #1 priority in order to achieve that particular level of success. Now, these things are ridiculously comfortable, and literally the second that you put it on, you feel like you're right next to Aaron Rodgers during one of his darkness retreats. I mean, look at this. Literally can't see so you know what? I should probably apply to officiate in the NFL. Prerequisites right here. Now, Manza has several selections on their website. This particular is the Sleep Mask Pro. This company and this mask has really been able to help me prioritize what is most important, and that is my sleep. so I can keep on giving you that juicy content, baby. So whatever you're doing, go to that link in my bio and make sure you put in the code DONMAFIA, and they're going to give you an extra 10% off your first order. Trust me, you will not regret this. Night night, bitches. The second room is going to be the offensive line. I mean, honestly, outside of Deion Dawkins, who on our offensive line would you consider to be a very good offensive lineman? Now, for a while, I loved Mitch Morse, and when he was not in the lineup and he was injured, he was dealing with an injury, yeah, you definitely saw the productivity of this offensive line spiral down the drain, but PFF really isn't that high on him. I'm pretty sure they had him ranked at 24th best center in 2022. He's getting a bit older, and he does have a concussion history. On top of that, really everybody else is somewhat inconsistent. Spencer Brown has been a disappointment. I'm really hoping that he'll be able to step up and actually be the guy that we drafted him to be. And my hopes are very high for O'Cyrus Torrence. This guy didn't give up a single sack in over 3,000 snaps, and he's one of the best run-blocking offensive linemen that came out of the draft. So I have to commend Brandon Beane for going out there and addressing this. On top of that, with Connor McGovern, although my buddy who's a Dallas Cowboys fan said that I shouldn't be too high on him. And hopefully Ryan Bates and Ike Butker will continue to develop, but still, at the end of the day, until I see what this offensive line looks like in actual regulation, it's going to be a bit of concern. We need to protect Josh Allen. We saw what happened during that Jets game last year with that whole elbow fiasco. So for the love of God, I really hope that our offensive line coach can get these guys into shape and some of these new additions can really make an impact. It's because my blood pressure simply just can't take it. Number 3 is going to be the linebacker room. Matt Milano is one of the best linebackers in the league. He's incredible in coverage. And I am so glad that we locked this guy down with an extension just a couple of years back, because I sincerely am praying that he retires as a Buffalo Bill. He's that integral to our defense, but we still haven't necessarily addressed who the hell is going to play middle linebacker and take over Tremaine Edmunds. Now, I know a lot of us always roasted Edmunds, like we were very picky. We thought that he didn't live up to the hype. But there's no question that him not being on this team is going to be a rough situation. Yes, we ended up drafting Dorian Williams, who is a great tackler, pretty solid in coverage, but he's a rookie. How fast is he going to be able to acclimate into the NFL? And so then we have Bernard, who is also listed above Dorian Williams at this point at his position, and then the number 1 middle linebacker on our depth chart as of today is AJ Klein, and then maybe Terrell Dotson. So I'm really hoping that Sean McDermott is really going to be able to scheme up a way for this linebacker room to be successful. Luckily, I do feel like that the addition with Poona Ford right in our defensive line is really going to limit the opportunities that many running backs are going to get to break into the middle of the field. And Matt Milano is good enough in coverage and speedy enough in coverage where I feel like that we will be okay. So that we ended up improving our defensive line that much that I think our linebackers are going to benefit. Bills Mafia, do me a favor, sound off in the comments what position group concerns you the most. Like I said, I still think that we're winning the division. I still think that we are very much Super Bowl contenders. I just like putting things out into perspective of things that we should watch out for, especially since OTAs are on the way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and before I let you go, you better always remember, let's go Buffalo.